Hello, today we are taking a look at a Temur style deck. Now this deck is in the colors of green, red, and blue. Now there are quite a few different ways to go about building Temur with the new Dragonstorm set. And the themes that I went with were creatures with at least 4 or more power, spells with at least 5 or more in the casting cost that can be reduced through other means, and a lot of card draw. Thankfully, in blue, we get access to a lot of card draw. In green, we get access to a lot of big creatures. And in red, we get access to removal, impulse draw, that kind of thing. This is a deck that I've been playing with for the last, I'd say about 3 or 4 days, and it has been doing very well for me. Despite only having a little bit of removal, the deck still operates really well. And it operates off of cards like Up the Beanstalk, fantastic card draw spell. You have cards like This Town Isn't Big Enough for the Two of Us, a good bounce spell that you can use to bounce your Up the Beanstalk to replay it again later and draw more cards. But it also plays a new card from Dragonstorm called I think it's called Breaching Dragonstorm, something along those lines. But it is a red card, costs 5 mana. When it comes into play, it reveals cards off the top of your library until you find a non-land spell that costs 8 or less mana. Then you can just straight up play that card immediately. And if it is a dragon that you get to play off of it, you get to bounce that enchantment back to your hand and then replay it again later. This is a fantastic card for mana reduction through a card called Temur Battlecrier. Temur Battlecrier is where the 4 power or more theme really shines, because this card will reduce the casting cost of other spells by 1 colorless for every creature that you have that has a minimum power of 4. So if you have 2 or 3 creatures on the battlefield that have a power of 4 or greater, then those spells suddenly only cost 2 or even 1 mana. And you can just cycle those big spells over and over and over and just draw a ton of cards off of Up the Beanstalk, bounce a bunch of spells with This Town Ain't Big Enough, cascade into more dragons with the Breaching Dragonstorm. It's a really cool play pattern. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Despite the fact that the deck is running a little light on removal, we're only running a few copies of This Town Ain't Big Enough, and we're running a few copies of, I think it's called Blazing Exhale, something like that. It's one of the new Dragon Breath abilities. It deals 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker. It's pretty decent. But that's kind of the theme that we're going with. So we're going to play a few games tonight. I'm going to show you the deck in action. And then when we get done, we'll go over the deck and I'll give you my final thoughts. So we'll see you at the end of this video. Okay, so what we have here is we have a Thundering Falls and a Forest. We have This Town Ain't Big Enough. We have a Surrak, and we're actually going to be sending this other Surrak down to the graveyard. We don't need 2 of those in our opening hand. So your opponent's playing a Plains, and they pass the turn. Okay, let's play a Forest, and we're going to play a Herd Heirloom. It's a fantastic little mana rock. Alright, opponent plays a second Plains, and is playing the Helpful Hunter. They're going to draw a card. So usually when the opponent plays a Helpful Hunter, that means they are on cats. So let's see what they're actually going to be playing. Okay, so right now we're going to cast the Omen side of this dragon and go get 2 forests. One of them is going to come directly into play, and the other one is going to go into our hand. Okay, let's play another Plains, and they're going to play a Patchwork Banner. That one is going to allow them to tap for additional mana, and is also going to act as an anthem for their cats. So now all their cats are just a little bit bigger. Okay, so we just drew a Migloz. We're going to play this Forest. And then we're actually going to play the Dragonhawk. Dragonhawk is a really cool card. I only play one of them in this deck because it's not really integral to the game plan, but it is a cool little one-of to surprise the opponent. Okay, we're playing Enduring Innocence. Not surprised to see that in a deck like that. And Johnny's Pridemate. Johnny's Pridemate can get out of control really fast if you let him. Ooh, but we just drew the Marang River Regent. We're going to play that. We're going to bounce 2 of their creatures. And then we get to attack for 5. Dragonhawk has a really cool ability. It will exile cards off the top of their library, and you get a chance to play them if you want to. And if you don't, then the Dragonhawk will deal damage to the opponent based off of how many cards are still in exile at the end of your turn. Oh, they're going to play Sheltered by Ghost now. Okay, Sheltered by Ghost is going to take the River Marang Regent. That is a bit of a mistake on their part, because if I can manage to eliminate that cat holding the Regent will come back into play on my side, and then will trigger its comes into play effect of bouncing 2 non-land cards. They're going to hit me for a bit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cast This Town Ain't Big Enough. And if we cast it and target one of our cards, the spell will only cost 2 mana. Okay, so what we're thinking about doing is we're actually going to tap the Herd Heirloom to give our Dragonhawk the ability to draw a card once it hits the opponent. And then we're going to bounce the Herd Heirloom and the enemy cat, so that the enchantment falls off and we get our Marang River Regent back, and then we get to bounce their 2 other creatures. An absolutely back-breaking play. And then we can play the Herd Heirloom again. Alright, then we're going to attack with the Dragonhawk. Dragonhawk will exile 2 cards. We're not going to cast either one of them, so that's going to be an additional 4 damage to the opponent. Temur Battlecrier on the top. Alright, those go away. Our opponent's at 6 health now, so if they can't deal with our creatures or play any flyers, then it's going to be the end of the game for them. Okay, they play a cat and an innocent, so that tells me they did not have any worthwhile plays. They have only 2 mana available, and they use it to play a Helpful Hunter to draw a card, and that's going to be game for them because our creatures fly. Okay, and that's going to be game for them. Okay, and here we are with the next game. We got a couple lands. We got a Migloz. We got 2 Up the Beanstalk. This looks like a pretty keepable hand. We even have a Herd Heirloom to ensure that we can cast our spells. So let's see what we can do with this game. So it looks like we're probably going to play the Forest first, and on turn 2 we're probably going to drop an Up the Beanstalk. Okay, it looks like our opponent was playing red and white. Let's play a desert land. So we're going to play our Verge. Okay, no, actually we're going to play our Herd Heirloom. That's probably the smarter play, honestly. Make sure that we can play our Migloz on curve. Okay, they're playing a little gnome guide, so that kind of tells me that they're on an artifacts plan. So Migloz actually has some value here. Because he has an ability where he can remove some counters and destroy an artifact or enchantment. Okay, it looks like we just drew our Temur Battlecrier. That is a fantastic thing to draw, because now our Up the Beanstalks are going to be reduced to a single green mana to cast. Oh, we just got a Surrak. Okay, and we get a nice chunky 4 damage from Migloz. We're going to put away the mountain. They're playing Tinker's Toad, so yeah, they're definitely on the artifact gnome game plan there. Oh, look at that, we just drew our Dragonhawk. I draw that a surprisingly high amount of times for it only being like a 1-of in the deck. Okay, second Up the Beanstalk. We're going to draw a card off of that. Play a land, and we'll play the Dragonhawk. We're going to draw 2 extra cards off of playing that. Pretty sweet. Even though we're only paying 3 mana for it, the mana cost is still 5. And now we're going to exile 3 cards because we have 3 creatures on the board that have a power of at least 4. Alright, hit him for 4 again, and those cards we just drew are going to go away and deal 6 damage. That is some pretty chunky damage from the Dragonhawk, and it looks like our opponent did not even want to try to keep up with what we got going on. Okay, next game we have a blue land, we got 2 red lands, we have 2 copies of This Town Ain't Big Enough, a Migloz, and a Molten Exhale. I think this is a pretty decent hand, so we're going to keep it. Okay, opponent goes first with a red and blue land, so they're either Izzet or Jeskai. Alright, they go for an Opt. Opt is such a good card. So glad it's back in Standard. Okay, second land is a Meticulous Archive, so they're definitely in Jeskai. Usually when you see Izzet lands, you can almost guarantee that the third color will likely be blue. Or white, I mean. Okay, third land. Don't do anything with it though, so we're going to play a mountain. And we're going to play Surrak, because Surrak can't be countered. Surrak is such a busted card. It can't be countered, but it can be lightning helixed. So they're going to blast it. I'm going to draw a card. I love that Surrak draws you cards when you target it, or when opponents target it. Alright, fourth land from the opponent. Okay, they're going to play Rally the Monastery and create 2 1/1 white monks with prowess. But what we're going to do is we're going to play Magmatic Hellkite and blow up their white-blue land. And this is a great opportunity to basic check them to make sure that they are playing enough basic lands in their deck. With all the 3-color decks running around, Magmatic Hellkite is a fantastic card. So you have an opportunity to basic check someone, and if they're not running enough basic lands, then that is just straight up land destruction. Okay, they're going to Monstrous Rage, the creature that we're blocking, so they definitely want to trade. If they had enough spells in their hand, they could have potentially got toughness on their creature high enough to survive the block, but they did not do it that time. Let's play that island. And here comes another Surrak. But this time, we have enough mana open to cast a This Town Isn't Big Enough. So whenever they try to go ahead and target our Surrak with some removal, like a Lightning Helix, we would happen to have a surprise for them. So we're going to bounce our creature, but the Surrak's ability is already on the stack from them targeting our Surrak, so we still get to draw a fresh card off. Pretty cool little synergy there. Okay, let's drop another Surrak, or rather the same Surrak. And we're not going to do anything else because I want to keep my mana open in case they try to blow up my Surrak again. Okay, and they're gonna kick a Burst Lightning, so they really don't want Surrak on the table. So we draw a card because they targeted him, but we're also gonna cast This Town Isn't Big Enough. Even though they don't have a creature to return, we can still return our own creature. And we still get to draw the card. Okay, next turn we're gonna drop that mountain. We're going to play that Surrak yet again. This is the third time we've cast this same Surrak. We've drawn a lot of cards off of it. There's a wonderful thing about this deck is like you have a lot of ways to just draw a bunch of extra cards. It's really fun. You almost never run out of steam with this deck. just waiting for the opponent to do something. Looks like they're going to try to kick a Burst Lightning again. We'll draw a card off of it, but this time we don't have any local tricks, so they do get the Surrak this time. Okay, our turn. Drew a forest. We'll play that forest. We're going to play the Temur Battlecrier. It's going to reduce all of our spells' mana cost by 1. So let's play that Breaching. That's going to reveal cards from the top of our library until we get to a non-land card. It's going to be another Temur Battlecrier. So now all of our abilities get reduced by 2 instead of just 1. The opponent's thinking about it. What do they want to do? Do I kill one of my guys again? Because that seems to be the only thing they've been doing all game, is just killing my creatures. But now they're tapping lands very deliberately to try and get to the right color mana to deal with my stuff. Okay, that's 2 blue, 2 white, and a red. What are they casting? Burst Lightning. Alright, Burst Lightning for 4. Deal with that Temur. And a Slick Sequence for my face, so they can draw a card. Oh, well, look at that. We got another Temur Battlecrier. Let's get it on the table. We're going to cast that Herd Heirloom for only 1 mana, and then a Migloz for 2 mana. Pretty sweet. Play that land. And then we're going to attack. Those Sarkhans tend to be a dead card in my hand very often with this deck. I'm thinking about replacing them. Okay, they got Highway Robbery. This is a pretty cool variation on the discard 1 and draw 2, because you can actually sacrifice a land to draw 2 cards with this instead. They cast Focus the Mind, so they're going to draw 3 more cards and discard 1. And that's a pretty cool card. I like that a lot. I especially like that it's an instant. I'm going to play a Jeskai Devotee. Not really going to be doing much with it, though. Alright, my turn. They're going to Molten Exhale the creature. Get off the table so there's no blockers. And then we're going to tap the Herd Heirloom to make one of my creatures able to draw a card when it strikes. Alright, and we drew a land. Getting plenty of land this game, that's not going to be an issue. And play a Otter Mentor. And a Stormchaser's Talent. Stormchaser's Talent is so good. Easily one of the best cards in Standard. Okay, they're coming at me. Not really sure why they didn't choose to keep it back as a blocker. Maybe they're just thinking that this game's already over, so I'll just get some damage in while I can. Oh, yeah, they're hitting me with a good game. Alright. GG, friend. Welcome back to the post-game wrap-up, and these are my thoughts on this deck. This deck is a lot of fun. It has a lot of very interesting play lines. I would not say that this is like a top shelf kind of deck, but it does have a very positive win rate. The deck's strengths really rely on getting down 1 or 2 copies of Up the Beanstalk pretty early, so that you can then really cycle through your 5 mana spells. Like, this town isn't big enough for the 2 of us, and the Breaching Dragonstorm. Those 2 cards are really what's going to help cycle through your deck a lot faster, because you're going to be casting a lot of these big spells that are just going to be drawing you lots and lots of cards. I found myself in many situations where I had so many cards in my hand by the end of my turn, that I ended up having to discard some cards. And honestly, that's a great problem to have. As far as the creatures in the deck, my personal MVP is probably the Temur Battlecrier. That card is just really, really good. Another honorable mention for good creatures, though, is definitely the new Surrak. The new Surrak is really good. For a 4/3 uncounterable trample that gives you more card draw if your creatures are targeted is really, really strong. Like, for only 3 mana. I mean, that's a really pushed card, and I really, really like it. So it's a good, like, failsafe when you're up against decks that play a lot of targeted removal. Cards that didn't really perform that well, honestly, for being a dragon deck, if you don't play Sarkhan in your first couple turns, he kind of feels like a dead card in the mid to late game, and probably something you would want to discard if you have too many cards in your hand. Yeah, if you don't play him in the first few turns, he is kind of dead. But as far as the other spells, I really like the Omen mechanic on some of the dragons in this set, specifically the green one and the blue one. The green one allowing you to basically cultivate, go and get 2 forests out of your deck, and the Marang River Regent allowing you to draw 3 cards and then discard 1 as an omen is a pretty good omen. I mean, good card draw. Good card draw in the creature side of it is a 6/7 flyer that bounces 2 non-land permanents. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better blue dragon. It's pretty damn good. But yeah, that being said, this is a pretty solid deck, especially for it being 3 colors. I mean, a lot of times your 3-color decks tend to suffer a little bit because you're spreading your mana base a little bit too thin. But this deck is pretty fun. I would definitely recommend this to someone that wants something that is a little off the beaten path. You're not going to be seeing a whole lot of this style of deck on the ladder. You're most likely going to be seeing a lot of mobilized decks right now, a lot of Jeskai or Is It Prowess decks. Those are the ones you're probably going to be seeing the majority of. A deck like this is probably going to be a rarity. So if you want to play a more off the beaten path kind of deck, well, I'll leave a deck list in the description box down below and in a comment so you can see it for yourself. But yeah, feel free to download the deck, try it out yourself, iterate further on yourself, try it with different card combinations. I really like the deck, and I think you will too. So until next time, you take care of yourselves.